IO, mic check, 1, 2. Shout out to everybody out there in Clown World. Can you hear me? Are we live? Let's get a little music going here. Mic check, 1, 2. Clown World check, 1, 2. Are we ready to rock here? February 4th, Saturday afternoon. All right, give me a shout if you can hear me in the live, folks. I want to get some confirmation we've got audio before I jump in here on this one. All right, Keith says the sound is better. Thanks for jumping in, Keith. Nice to see you, man. Awesome. All right, so if you can hear me, let me know if you can see me now. I'm your host with the honks, Jason Bruce. Thanks for honking on into my channel. Make sure that you honk that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit the bell for notifications so we can bring you new and upcoming content, which I'm hoping to bring you a lot more of here in 2023. So with that in mind, we're going to jump over to Bitcoin first. And here we are on the 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin. And I think we're starting to gain some strength here. You can see sort of a rounding structure here. Got a low, higher low, sort of a rounding structure here as we continue to move up. And we have negotiated this point of control on the VRVP at just below $23,000. So with this stochastics RSI trying to build momentum above this 20 level, I think the picture looks good for Bitcoin. And the reason why I'm jumping into Bitcoin first on a broadcast labeled for altcoins is obviously Bitcoin has a huge influence on this market, so we want to make sure that Bitcoin's heading in a direction that's going to be conducive to getting it done for our altcoins as well. So with Bitcoin looking good on the 4-hour, I'm just going to jump into the 24-minute. This 24-minute time frame has some math behind it, and I'm just going to throw it out there, make it real simple. There's 24 hours in a day. Crypto operates 24/7. Break that down to a 24-minute time frame. It gives you a minutia that not everybody is necessarily looking at, and it can give you a certain perspective on where momentum is building in the market. So right now, price is just above this point of control at 23,428, and we may just consolidate in this range over the weekend. We'll see as the stochastics momentum continues to build on this smaller time frame, and as I was stating on the 4-hour here as well. So we're going to jump out to Ethereum on the 4-hour and see what kind of a picture that's showing us. And we've kind of been creating this wedge structure here. If we play with this a little bit, I feel like my chart shifted on me just a little bit. That may have been from a previous trade. We'll just remove that. So what we're looking at here in this wedge on I would probably look at this as a bit of a symmetrical triangle. We're well above the 200 daily moving average. Price sort of chopped around this point of control, right around 1582. And right now we have broken out and are trying to retest the top of this structure. Definitely feel like this chart shifted on me a little bit. So if we look at a measured move on this, which we're taking from the bottom of this flag here to the top, right to this breakout area after the confirmation. Looking at around 1839 for Ethereum short term. I don't think that's asking too much, right? So we swing out to the 12-hour time frame. Looks like we're building momentum here. So you can see where we have this structure and how that relates to the RSI. Just clean bounces off that midpoint 50 level, which shows that we're building strength, and we do have a chance to create some higher highs here. So I think we should be looking out for that area just above 1800. And then we're going to have a psychological area at 2000 and just above that. So something to look out for Ethereum. And we are in a much larger triangle structure here for Ethereum as well. We did break out of this point of control a while back when we started this sort of parabolic move to where we've been consolidating. So all this looks pretty strong to me. Looks like we're building market structure. And I think that's going to give us the ability to make some larger moves here. Move this down to where that breakout point's at. So that becomes a little more conservative. I think 3182 is realistic for Ethereum on this relief rally. And if we take a look here, see if we can create some confluence with the Fibonacci. Actually, we'll take the extension. So we'll go from swing wick low, swing wick high, drop that back down, and that's up between the 706 and the 786. So if we see a rally get pretty heated, not impossible to think that the price will make it back up to that area. This other line we had highlighted coincides perfectly with the 0.5 fib, and we have this golden pocket here too, in between about 2500 and 2670, which I want to say, if we flip over to futures, yeah, that 2600 area, that's a CME gap. So highlighting that as a point of confluence, 2600 for Ethereum, likely target on this rally that we've just started. So I think that's positive. Let's move over to some indexes here that'll give us a better idea of where the altcoins might be heading. Now this total 2 is the total crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin. So this is Ethereum and all the altcoins. We've got this structure right now where we can see that we're testing this resistance. Okay. It's a little bit of a descending right now. You could even say potentially we broke out of this. We draw it a little differently. I think that might be more realistic to look at here. So let's kind of look at that as where we're at. We did negotiate this 200 daily moving average, and building momentum here on this total crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin on the 12-hour, trying to push the stochastics RSI up above into this overbought territory. Once again, RSI bouncing off the 50 level. All that stuff looks good. We did have some chop here around this point of control, did back down, broke out of that parabolically, and now we're negotiating above this triangle. So that's good to see for total 2. And if we take a measured move, we can look at getting a big bump in the altcoin space. We're looking at altcoins potentially bumping up 60%, just short to midterm, maybe into March. So something to look for. I think we definitely could be creating, a fast and quick parabolic run where we're going to want to take some profits over the next few months. Kind of similar to 2019. I know some of you in the chat were around for it. Some of you may not have been. But late 2018 to 2019, we did start building market structure, and we did create a parabolic run up over the course of just a few months from 3,000 to just above, or just around 14,000, I should say. So that move stunned a lot of people, attracted a lot of liquidity because people were looking for potentially higher prices. They were looking for that 100,000, that 100K. Which may or may not be coming to this market soon enough. So yeah, that's total 2. Now we're going to exclude Ethereum real quick because it is a big market cap, so we want to get an idea of where the rest of these altcoins are heading. And we've been in a falling wedge here for the smaller altcoins. We've broken out, we're flagging out here. There's a larger overhead resistance, and we want to negotiate that. And if we can get above this 470 billion mark, I think there's some much larger moves for altcoins coming, which is why we're covering this video right now. So let's move over to XRP. I did a banging job on XRP while I was live streaming to nobody a little while ago. But here we are. Well, we're all here, right? So XRP's got some interesting confluence right now. 200 daily moving average at this green line. Stochastics RSI briefly dipped down from the overbought territory, but is building momentum back up. RSI above the 50 level, gaining strength. And looks really good here because it looks like we've built sort of this shoulder, head, and shoulder, inverse head and shoulders pattern as we've sort of consolidated around this point of control on the VRVP at around 41 cents. So some nice confluence there, and even more confluence as this consolidation was building just above a downtrend line that it looks like we have now flipped into support after trying to bank through it as resistance a few times. So this is what we see when we're trying to, break out of these, longer term levels. Creates these types of consolidations where you get these patterns, and you can try to use these to try and give you a better probability of where the market may be heading. So direct measured move out of this head and shoulders should take us to around 45 cents. Could have a little stop along the way around 43.5. I'm just looking for confirmation out of this structure. So hopefully we'll be getting that soon. Some type of a breakout and retest of this line here right around 41.93, just below 42 cents. So if we can get above those levels and negotiate this area here around 46 cents, I think we can start to pick up more momentum. And as we zoom out here, I'm going to jump out to the 4-hour time frame. And I want to highlight this structure here, which is kind of a goofy cup and handle. We had this wick down, which started to create this rising wedge. Typically these rising wedges are bearish patterns and they can break down. However, we do have stochastic momentum on our side. So it looks like right now we're at least trying to retest the bottom of this wedge, which is around that 45-cent area that I highlighted. If we're able to break back into this pattern, then I think more than likely we're going to look at XRP start to make a parabolic move. And that could bring us up a lot higher. We do have these areas around 49, 50 cents, 53 and a half, 57. Direct measured move of this cup and handle that's formed here with this cup and this sort of ugly consolidation handle. That takes us directly to this downtrend line that has created a large downtrending overhead resistance from the previous two swing wick highs, from the high around like $1.90 something and the relief rally into last spring. So those areas have created that spider line, and if we're able to break out of that 57 and a half cent level, then much higher levels coming as we continue to swing out here on XRP. Jump out to the 22-hour, which is a time frame the institutions like to use. We can see this triangle is forming here, and above that 57-cent level, we have around 69, 70 cents, 78, 87, 99 to $1, $1.27, $1.59, and then this range high around $1.94. So there's a lot of chopping here, which is why I'm throwing out all those levels. We're going to have to negotiate all those levels as resistance and flip them to support. If we do that, we have kind of a pretty picture on the macro here. So I'll swing out a little further to our 3-day chart. And the picture this creates is pretty nice because we can see right here this triangle that we formed that's reflecting in our RSI. And we have this nice cup on the macro, which if we take the measurement from this swing wick low to the swing wick high of this consolidation wedge that we're forming and extrapolate that out to around the breakout level or where we may break that 57-cent mark on this downtrending spider line, that brings us up to a nice target. A nice target of around 11 cents. So, or excuse me, $11. Sorry, we don't want to go back down to 11 cents. That would take us down to around here, around this swing wick low. And I don't want to say it's impossible. We can always see this stuff break down, but I think it's highly unlikely. There is this point of control here that I want to highlight as well. If we see any breakdown in the market, I would look to reaccumulate XRP around 30 cents. In fact, I would go in pretty hard at 30 cents if XRP did dip down that far. Not financial advice. I want to make very clear nothing that I say on this channel is financial advice. Please do your own due diligence. Get yourself a financial advisor before jumping into any coin investment or trade. And with that being said, XRP looks beautiful. We want to resolve that SEC lawsuit. I know a lot of you guys out there on this live stream right now are holding some XRP, have been looking at the potential outcome for that for a while. So with the library case, I think we have a good chance to move forward. The SEC is not on firm ground now, and more than likely, the market has the ability to make some moves up from here. Justin's asking in the chat, so am I saying that we should buy now? Let me highlight something here on this chart. So I want to go back to June of 2022. Okay. We can see where we're at here and where we swung down on this wick. I'm going to zoom in a little bit further. Just going to zoom in a little bit further on it. Okay. This is June 2022. XRP swung down to 28 cents, so just below that 30-cent level. Okay. There's a post on my Facebook where I stated that I would be buying Bitcoin and averaging into the market with Bitcoin below 20K. Anything between the 17 and 20K range is a bargain. Anything below that would be a bargain. I said there was a possibility for the market to swing a little bit lower after that, and that I would continue to accumulate if it did. We did see some coins swing lower and some coins didn't. So what we saw here with XRP is we formed a nice double bottom with this wick swinging down just a little bit lower than that to 30 cents. And right now we're attempting to break out of this market structure. So, once again, not financial advice. Nothing that I say here should be construed as such. But with what we're seeing here, this is accumulation. We still may be in an accumulation zone. This breakout could run into resistance around this area. You see a lot of chop here. Could come back down to confirm around these resistance or resistance turn support. These spider lines, this point of control. Could even come back down a little bit lower than that. It could come back down to that 30-cent level. Because you can see when you move in and out on the chart, the VRVP is going to swing in and out a little bit. And you can use that for confluence, okay? But just keep in mind, these levels, ask yourself, if you're really believing in XRP as an asset, ask yourself, what's the difference between 30 and 40 cents, which is kind of where we've been in this range, 30, 40, 50 cents. If you believe this asset's going to $11, which I actually really honestly do think this is a realistic target, you could see it top off around $7, $8, but to think that it's going to bounce, a 2x from the previous all-time high around $3.80, it's not unrealistic. So once you get into this area, if you're holding that asset and you're taking some profits, you're going to be in really, really good shape if you were buying at 30, 40, 50 cents, right? Because it all becomes moot at that point. If you're swinging up to $11 and you bought between 30, 40, 50 cents, then your average is around 40 cents, right? And what does that turn into? It turns into a huge swing trade. So we just have to look at this as an opportunity, and you can continue to buy. I don't recommend buying green candles. I'm not one to buy the top of breakouts either, or to buy when we're in this range on longer term time frames with the stochastics RSI in this overbought territory. But you can see here, I'll highlight this here. We were in accumulation here. This is just flat. This was overbought. The blue swung down, swung back up again, continued in this area, swung all the way down, reset, and we're still in accumulation. So what we have to look at is with this line, it looks like we've broken out. We may negotiate some areas in between here, then chop up to this area, then come back down, then come back out and break out. There's all kinds of stuff that can happen in this area because there's so much chop. You see all these lines that I have highlighted here. There's all these different areas, okay? So it's best to just be accumulating. Take a little bit here and there. If you get an opportunity to scalp off and buy lower, so be it. You don't have to sell your whole bag. You can always sell off 10, 20, 30%. Use that to buy back a little bit cheaper on dips. So, you know, let's keep an eye on this area here in the RSI. And if we swing back down, that's an area where you can look at to, potentially add to your bags, right? Because then you're going to swing back down into this area with the confluence of these spider lines and the POC. And, it swings back down lower and we test these swing wick lows and we create even a triple bottom. It's totally possible. Totally possible. Keep these scenarios in mind. Always be open-minded. And just be thankful that we've been accumulating for this long and that we've had a chance to accumulate for that long in this market. Nothing saying that we couldn't have seen a huge V-shaped recovery, that would have caught a lot of people by surprise as well. Obviously, with the macroeconomic conditions, that didn't happen, and we're where we're at right now. We have a chance to accumulate, so just take the chance. Just take the chance. If you believe in XRP, and I know a lot of you guys out there do, just take the chance. 30 cents, 40 cents, 50 cents isn't going to matter, right? Just keep jumping in. Because right now there's no way to know what the volatility is going to look like in the coming weeks. We have the probabilities here, right? Which looks like upside, right? But, none of that is a given or a guarantee. Justin, you didn't miss H-bar? Let me jump into H-bar real quick because I didn't have it on the schedule for today. I tried to take some requests on coins. And guys, if you want to support this channel, I don't even know if it gives you a super chat feature out there. Let me know if it shows you a super chat feature in the live chat there. In the lower right-hand corner, there should be like a little $ looking thing. If you have requests or if you want to support the channel monetarily, let me know if that super chat feature is there. If it isn't, I'll look into turning that on. But I will look at H-bar now regardless, so we'll jump over there. We do see a breakout occurring on the 3-day. We did close a candle above the upper Bollinger Band and have now actually closed another candle above that area. So we did have this flag, looks like a symmetrical triangle. I'm going to zoom in on that so that I can highlight the text behind that. I don't like the way those candles look. Let's try the daily. Alright. Oh man, the daily for H-bar looks fantastic. I think Keith won't mind us looking at this one too. I know he was saying something about that one in the Zen Traders group earlier. So we got this little continuation flag for H-bar, right? Oh, we're in the H-bar market cap. Let me get out of that. It was an index. I don't want that. Sorry, guys. Okay. So, similar stuff here. US dollar tether, daily chart, above the 200 DMA and the point of control at 6 cents. H-bar did have a solid breakout. So, we did have this flag that formed here. I'm going to take that as breakout and retest, okay? Where we had this candle swing up, this candle broke through, this candle swung back down, and now we're breaking out again, okay? And we can correspond that with the stochastics RSI. It's still deeply oversold here, but trying to swing back up into a position of strength. So this shows us that this is about to be a pretty nice breakout for H-bar. This should be like a wave 3 that we'll be creating here. So that wave 3 could take you up to or just around 16 cents for H-bar in the short to mid-term, playing out to around the end of February on the daily chart. Swing out real quick to the macro for H-bar. So I think this thing's going to go into price discovery. So we've got this falling wedge here. You can see that we're negotiating that right now, trying to break out of that level. Quite likely that we do, as you can see that the RSI is gaining strength just above the 50 level. I'm going to take a full measured move here from the full swing wick low all the way to the swing wick high of this pattern here on the weekly chart. Let's say we break out here at this point right here. The macro for H bar could take us into late 2024 at around $4.73. So that represents a huge move up. If we were to look at that from the bottom, potential 12,876% move from H bar from the bottom if you did happen to accumulate some there around 3.5 cents. This is not unrealistic, folks. This coin has a lot of fundamentals behind it. You can see it in this perfect falling wedge. Even if we just swing out of the wedge here, we've got that target around 30 cents. Some nice confluence at the top of the wedge around 45 cents. And then that top wick at around 58 cents. Above that, it's anybody's guess, folks, but the technicals can give us an idea here. We do have sort of an intermediate measure move as well. If we just take this swing wick low to that swing wick high, around $1.54. So you may want to start taking some off the top. You know, once we negotiate this area around this top wick, you know, anything around $1.50 and up, you might want to start taking profits on H bar. So, let's move over to meme coins. Meme coins. Dog is not going anywhere, folks. We do have a breakout and retest on the weekly chart for Dogecoin. Stochastics RSI is trying to break above the 50 level. RSI has already broken above the 50 level, where we can see this consolidation here after the breakout and retest. This looks fantastic for Doge, to be honest. So if we just have the swing wick low to the swing wick high of the wedge, we're looking at around just above $1. That would be fantastic for Dogecoin holders. I know everybody said it was impossible. Dogecoin will never hit $1. Technicals look like it probably will. You would have to negotiate some levels first. 10 cents, 14 cents, 25 cents, 73 cents at the top of the wedge. And then it's anybody's guess, folks, if we've got a repeat of the fractal pattern. You could be looking anywhere between $23 and $35. I would start taking some serious profits around there. If that ever happened for Dogecoin holders, they would be sitting in serious profits. That's Dogecoin. I'm going to try to start banging on these folks because I've got a long list of coins today. And I already did about an hour of live streaming to myself earlier, which always is nice practice. And I had a lot of this stuff highlighted already, which makes it easier. But yeah, always nice to talk to yourself, right? I'm not crazy, I promise. Okay, so Shiba Inu on the weekly. Sasset is going to be correlated and tied to Dogecoin. It did create a nice wedge here. Momentum is breaking above the 50 level on the Stochastics RSI, trying to gain momentum. When you see the or excuse me, on the RSI, trying to gain momentum above that 50 level. When you see the price on the stochastics RSI break above this level around this 80, and you're all the way up here, and it's just kind of creating space, and it kind of looks like it might be bending and trying to come back down, more than likely this is creating momentum for a larger wave up. So I'm going to zoom out to the 2-week candles, and you can see here this is actually new territory for the stochastics RSI. So this is a new high for the stochastics RSI, and if it breaks above the 50 level, you're going to see Shiba start to really gain a lot of strength out of this move, which it's already broken out and retested. So it broke out, retested, fell down a little bit further, all the way down to this support line from these 2 points. Even broke down a little bit further than that on the sell-offs at the end of last year to this point of control, perfectly on the macro for the VRVP, and then bounced cleanly from there. So right now it's negotiating the 0.382 fib. There's a perfect level of macro confluence on this measured move here of this wedge and this W pattern breakout. So if you take this measured move from here to here and bang that out here, that jumps right into your golden pocket, and it gives you about 100% move for SHIB just in the short to mid-term moving into April of this year. With that in mind, you know, this thing could go parabolic soon, price discovery mode. With the way this pattern is set up, it's not really giving me a good macro price target date, but it is showing me some pretty interesting macro price targets, which, you know, could be all the way up around 15,000, 49 to 50,000, and 98,000. I don't know what that would correspond to dollar-wise, if that would get anywhere close to a penny. I think this one around 49,000 has some likelihood to potentially play out in the macro, as it does correspond perfectly with the 1.618 Fibonacci on this extension from this swing wick low to this swing wick high, where I believe our current relief rally is going to go, which is around the 3,000 level. So if you bought in around the lows on Shiba, around 700, 800, you're swinging all the way up to 300 or 3,000, excuse me. That's a nice 4.5x on the midterm swing, and if you can accumulate that and then maybe put some aside, hit the next swing back down for the big pop up to the next level, I think you can make some decent money on Shiba. And folks, once again, we have a life-changing opportunity here. A lot of people bought crypto, at various points in the market. They may be down on those bags. If you're down on your bags, folks, average in on a project. If you don't want to let it go, or you think it may come back up, or if you're just down on that bag and you don't want to sell at a loss, which the time to sell at a loss was at the end of last year if you wanted a tax loss harvest. Obviously, you can still do it now. Not financial advice. You just have to claim it on this year's taxes as opposed to last year's if you haven't filed already. So just keep that in mind, for those types of ramifications. But right now, in terms of where the market's at, and if you're down on a bag, you have the opportunity to average down on that bag and get lower prices. I've been averaging down on all kinds of stuff for the last 8 months. 8 months. 8 months. I've been averaging into this market for 8 months. And then finally, when I saw some signs of what was happening here, after we saw a shift at the end of last year into the beginning of this year, I decided it was time to jump into some positions that may be a little more rewarding in the long term. So I did take some lower leverage ETF positions on a handful of coins that I have benefited me quite a bit in the short to midterm, and that I believe will continue to benefit me over the next several weeks and months as we do continue to rally here, and I believe we will continue to rally. So with that in mind, I'm going to jump over to Chainlink. Chainlink is the Oracle solution for the majority of the cryptocurrency proof of stake space. Let me get away from the futures contracts here. I don't want the perp. We want the Binance. So I'm going to swing back out to the weekly here on Chainlink. And we can see here there is some pretty nice market structure on Link. I'm gonna remove all this stuff, sorry. Sometimes I feel like TradingView carries over stuff from other charts to some of the charts that I didn't put it on. It's a little bit weird, a little bit of an odd program. So we can see the RSI trying to negotiate the 50 level on the weekly. Once it pops above that, Chainlink's going to gain more strength. Once again, I'm going to highlight this area on the stochastics RSI, very similar to where Shiba was at, where you see this bend at the top with the blue. I believe that's going to continue to create some strength for us. You can see where that happened here and where that happened here. Price action actually continued up after that. Where it happened here, consolidation, and then price came up a little bit more. Where that happened here, consolidation, price came up a little bit more. So I believe price will continue to come back up a little bit more for Chainlink. It may just come up to the top of this wedge. We'll have to look at that and reassess and see whether Chainlink can break out at that time. Did create a pretty nice structure over the last several months in between the range of about $5 and $9 or so. So if you were accumulating Link over that time, congratulations. I think it will pay off in the long run. Chainlink, I think, is a coin that's just going to take a little bit of time to move. So in the short to mid-term, we could see a rally up to this golden pocket here, somewhere around 24, 25, 26 bucks. Might be best to shave off some profits there and see if you can re-enter at a lower price. And potentially, if we see the fractal repeat for Chainlink, it does have a longer term target pushed all the way out to summer of 2025 of around $1,600. So if you're buying Chainlink here around $7, you could be looking at a 200x on Chainlink. It's not financial advice, not saying it has to play out, but if we break above this this area here, this high, which was around 53, I think, 50 something dollars, 52.88, somewhere in there. If we break out of that, all bets are off. You're in price discovery mode. $200, $220 area, you might see some heavy resistance there. It may take some time as we move through the bull market into August for Chainlink to consolidate, maybe come back down before a final parabolic move up here, if that is indeed going to happen for Link. Once again, not saying it has to, not financial advice. Can even take a little more of an intermediate measurement here from that sort of middle swing wick, which is going to take you just above that 1.618. So maybe look out for $400 as well. That's Chainlink. Let's move on to Solana. Solana's had a fairly aggressive breakout recently. This RSI on the weekly is Sort of looks like it's dipping down a little bit as it approached that 50 level, so that's not necessarily the best sign. We're seeing something similar here though on the stochastics RSI, where we're probably creating some breakout. We may have a little more room to potentially move up, but we've had this parallel downtrend channel here since the top. It's been creating this consolidation, and had a nice bounce from the bottom of it, which created some pretty good gains for people that may have bought in at the bottom on this wick here, which was around $8 on the FTX collapse and the capitulation towards the end of last year. Excuse me. So what I see here for Solana, right now it may potentially be at resistance. So we'll zoom in a little bit on the daily. I like the low stochastics RSI on the daily here. That is a good sign. So there has been some consolidation here after a move up. We're in a bit of a rising wedge, which we have seen a lot of coins in that type of a pattern right now. Did get a little wick out of that, and price swung back up above this middle Bollinger Band. So the price is consolidating above that middle band right now. Really haven't had a retest of the lower band yet since this up move, and this closed with this candle above the upper band. So that's always a warning to me that we may see price move back down first before it's able to bounce back up. But it's going to be up to Bitcoin ultimately what happens there. So if we do get a bounce out of that, we get a bit of a parabolic sort of a move out of this wedge. It would take us well out of the downtrend channel. That move would take us almost up to $100 in the midterm around late February. So that move is not impossible, and I'll highlight why. Because that takes us just above the 706 Fibonacci, the institutional fib level. This 706 fib is used by a lot of institutions, and it does create confluence when there can be FOMO in assets or markets above the golden pocket here. So golden pocket is an area to keep an eye on as well, between $70 and $76. And then we do have that move up to close to 100 that may be possible around the 706. If it gets really heated, about 120, 122, 125, somewhere in that area for Solana. I'm going to swing out real quick. Just grabbing a 10-day chart. So I have a zoomed out view. I did chart this out earlier. RSI looks like it's bottomed out, and do have a chance to really move back up here and make a significant move. I'm not holding any Solana in spot or long-term HODL position, but I do have a leveraged long open right now. I want to say around like a 6x. So with that in mind, Solana could make a big move, and Paul Democrito of the Crypto Factor channel talked about that recently. He's looking at $1,000 Solana in the next bull run. I think it does actually have the legs to make it a little bit further than that if you look at the confluence with the 1.618 and this measured move of the fractal. If that repeats itself, you could be looking at Solana around 2,000 to 2,400 area. So I would say if you got anywhere around 1,000 maybe shave a little bit off, and you could look to continue to ride that bag up to around 2,000 to 2,400 area on the macro for Solana. You know, Solana moved really hard and fast the last time that it moved up, and if you just take a measured move, it says that we could do that by the end of this year. I don't know how realistic that is, so you could see that play out into 2024 or 2025. Just keep that in mind for Solana. Thanks for jumping in the chat to anybody who's on the live stream today. If you are on the live stream and you haven't jumped into the chat yet, drop us a comment. Please, guys, engage my algorithm. If you haven't hit the like button, smash the subscribe, the notification, honk the heck out of all the notifications, comments, likes, all that stuff. We really do need that here to drive the algorithm for this young channel. Alright, so I'm going to keep moving here. I'm going to jump over to AVAX while we're in layer 2s. AVAX on the macro, building strength similar to Solana. I really need to get cracking on these and keep moving. AVAX, I've got this bar pattern here taken from the breakout level that we just recently saw. We're on this 10-day chart. Moving into February of 2024, according to this bars pattern, we could see a huge all-time high on AVAX, around $1,700 as we're moving into the next bull run. You know, and keep in mind, this stuff may play out over a little longer period of time. But AVAX is a fundamentally sound layer 2 solution. And does have a lot of fundamentals behind it, does have a lot of good DApps being built on it. And right now, we've got a nice breakout that's occurred above the 200 daily moving average and the middle Bollinger Band, which have almost perfect exact confluence on this 10-day chart with each other. That's nice stuff. Nice stuff for AVAX. We'll zoom in a little bit on the daily chart. RSI is waffling right around this oversold territory, or overbought, excuse me. We'd like to jump back up into that overbought territory. You've got Stochastic's RSI right around this 50 level. We'd like to break above that. Price is above the point of control. I would keep an eye on that point of control as a potential area to accumulate. If you see AVAX come back down to 17, anything below that, you may want to jump back in and buy some more. If you're accumulating AVAX long term or looking to trade, that would be a good entry for a long, I think. Right now, probably not the best spot to be jumping in long positions, but we still could move up, so you can always use a leverage long position with a tight stop loss if you think that we may move up from here on AVAX. I'll jump into the 4-hour real quick. We do see low Stochastics RSI and RSI consolidating above the 50 level. May potentially be building strength on AVAX. We've got this flag here, which is consolidating above the breakout of this falling broadening wedge, where we did see a nice 3 white soldiers breakout candle pattern and consolidation into this pennant. There is a little bit of green coming in where we're trying to break above this midpoint of the Bollinger Bands as they start to tighten a little bit in this falling wedge. Falling wedge typically has a bullish bias. So if we see price continue to consolidate in this area here and move down a little bit more, even to $20, don't be surprised if it bounces from that area first. If it does bounce from $20, there is a potential swing long trade that you could jump into for about a 23.5% gain. You set your stop loss at about 6%. It's a pretty safe trade to jump into with about a 4-to-1 risk reward ratio for AVAX on the possible swing. So AVAX is looking pretty good. Keep in mind, you know, there's always a possibility of this market breaking down. Could break down to this 20 level or even all the way down here to test the bottom of this support line from that falling broadening wedge, which would have confluence with the 200 daily moving average and this point of control down here at around that $16.85 level. Remember, like I said, anything under $17, anything between about 16, 17, if we do happen to swing down there, might give you a good opportunity to accumulate on AVAX. So moving along, bear with me here, folks, sorry. Moving along, sticking with the layer 2 theme, we're going to move over to Atom. Cosmos is an interoperability layer 2 solution, high speed, does offer a lot of capabilities with smart contracts. We can see price has been consolidating in a bit of a rising wedge, well above the 200 daily moving average and this point of control around 9.37. Atom's made a pretty nice move over the last few days and weeks, has shown a lot of strength and bullishness as we've continued to consolidate and accumulate out of the bear market that I believe we are finally thawing and moving out of. So right now with the price in this rising wedge, keep in mind rising wedges most of the time do tend to break down. 68% probability of a breakdown. This could actually just be a fake out here. Could break down, could just come down to the bottom of the pattern, could break all the way down to this 200 around 11.69, or we could retest the POC, which is all the way down around this spider line. So keep in mind, we can always move up or down. Bitcoin is going to decide our fate in this market. We're just grinding sideways right now, seeing if we can find a support point to get an additional bounce off of. So nothing saying that we don't just wick down here to the bottom of these bands, test this upper line of this wedge as support after breaking out of it, and making a more aggressive move after that. So that aggressive move, if we take this swing wick down to this swing wick high, and we happen to gain enough momentum to break out of this rising wedge parabolically, it would take us up to about $22.34 in the midterm for Atom, right around, early March, somewhere in that area. So that is Atom in the short to midterm, and I'm gonna swing all the way out to a 5-day view here for US dollar tether on Binance. This is nice market structure to me, folks. This looks pretty good. We have formed a nice consolidation. This is kind of a cup here. After initially breaking down, we got this rounding structure up into this sort of a wedge. We've shown a breakout and retest of this wedge now. RSI building momentum above that 50 level, and it looks like Atom could get cracking. And honestly, once you break out of that area above the swing wick high of the formation, which is around $44, Atom could jump into price discovery mode and 10 or 12x from there and potentially end up around $500, $520. So that is Atom right now. Some good potential there as far as Atom goes for the short, mid, and long term. It does have good fundamentals behind it too, so no reason to count out Atom. I'm going to jump over to FTM, which has been making a big move recently. Phantom is a high-speed layer 2 solution. Did make a huge move in the previous bull market. I was watching that thing consolidate around the bottom and then even around this area, and I did not jump into Phantom in the last run, so I did miss out on some significant gains with that one. Right now, it does look like it's breaking out again, and a lot of people got away from this project because there was some issues around the fundamentals. I believe there was like a security hack or whatever else. Hacks in these markets are something to look at as a lot of the time potential opportunities for accumulation. A lot of the time when you see these hacks occur, what it really lends itself to is sort of a shakeout of weak hands. and a lot of the time you'll see these projects just bounce parabolically from there, or accumulate and then bounce really hard. So what we saw with FTM, I think maybe something like that. So not 100% sold on the wedge that I'm drawing here, but we'll take that measurement for right now. It looks like we've got a solid breakout. You know, price is well above the 200 daily moving average, and that's going to swing you directly back up to the confluence of the top of this formation, which is around $3.42, which is like, you know, 5x from here for FTM. And if you happen to negotiate that level and jump into a sort of parabolic price discovery mode, could be looking something crazy on FTM. Massive move. And once again, folks, you know, none of this stuff is written in stone. None of it's guaranteed. All of this is really just for entertainment purposes, not financial advice. Please get yourself a financial advisor before getting into any coin investment or trade. So we can see here, if we do negotiate this price discovery mode around $3.42 for FTM, $50 to $52 could be potential intermediate target into 2024, and then moving out to late 2024, or maybe even projecting into 2025, depending how the markets play out. $347 for FTM. Woo. No reason to not throw in just a little bit and see what might happen. Not saying to buy right now, because you got all these green candles. You know, this is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, just over a month where Phantom has moved from 19 cents all the way up to the current level at 62 cents. So a nice 2x on your money since then. So maybe not necessarily the best opportunity to jump in. It may come back down to like this support area around 41 cents. Nothing guaranteed. It doesn't just go up much higher right now from here, as we are at a significant resistance level. If it does break through that, then, you know, $1.14, somewhere in that area in the midterm. So keep those levels in mind for Phantom. Layer 2 is going to move over to Matic. This is one of my bangers right here. I've highlighted a lot of price action for Matic on the last 2 streams, so I don't want to go too far into it, but I do want to highlight the macro because I do believe that it's possible to see some huge moves for Matic, potentially all the way up to around $179 for Matic. Just jump into the daily here real quick just to give us a little bit of an intraday picture. You can see Matic has been starting to pick up steam, moving parabolically, potentially moving up to this next support and resistance level around $1.33. And I think some of the TA that I was doing on a little more zoomed in level was pointing to the possibility of that. So if we look at the 4-hour here, the stochastics RSI, it does look like it's trying to gain some strength. And if we draw a trend line on the RSI here, we're attempting to either break out or reject at this level here right now. So let's keep an eye on that for Matic. See if we can move up to this next level here. $1.33, $1.54, $1.74. Matic, I do believe, is going to go into price discovery mode at some point very soon, and I'm going to highlight why. And I'm going to highlight something that I haven't touched on yet in this live stream for the altcoins, and that is the Bitcoin pairs. So we can see here an aggressive bounce for Matic from the bottom of this formation here, where I believe it is forming a larger macro right shoulder. Got this 200 daily moving average. Stochastics RSI has been building strength, sort of consolidating. And when you see Stochastics RSI kind of create these waves, a lot of the time that'll tell you you're going to create breakout waves, especially when you're consolidating above support. So you can see that there. We did have kind of a breakout of this sort of wedge pattern here. 3 white soldiers, consolidation, break back up. Looks like we may even be trying to break up further. And really what this constitutes for Matic on this shorter to midterm. Decent swing on your Satoshis. Up to around 5,900 level if you're swinging Matic against Bitcoin. As we continue to break out here. What I really want to highlight though is actually on the monthly chart. And this is a beautiful freaking thing right here. What we're seeing, folks, see a massive consolidation and sort of a falling, broadening wedge where we're now consolidating just below resistance. And the longer you see consolidation below key points of resistance, the more likely it is to break through that resistance, especially when you're starting to build strength with your indicators. You can see Stochastics RSI consolidated and is now just moving above this 50 level. We've been consolidating above the 50 level in the RSI since the head of this potential inverse head and shoulders pattern did make a bottom here at the bottom of this formation here around 1,600 Satoshis. So this formation here has a chance to do some big things, provided there's no rejection. If this plays out for the macro, you're looking at huge gains, massive gains against Bitcoin for Matic. And if Matic goes into price discovery mode against Bitcoin, that is totally possible. And I did see this pattern a couple months ago, and I was looking for us to potentially maybe break out right here, but we ended up with a longer wick than is desirable. And usually when we see those longer wicks, you're going to see a red candle and some consolidation. So as we saw that happen here, we got another wick down, and then we were able to create some momentum above this close on that red candle. And now we've got a nice green candle that's building strength as we come back up to this resistance level here. And you can see where that price is perfectly at that resistance level now from that red candle and that green candle that wicked off here. So we want to close a candle on the monthly for February above those levels. And if we do that, it's going to indicate strength. So if that happens, I believe the next step then would be to try and close a candle above this resistance here, which is formed by these 2 wicks from this giant candle here and then this candle here where I thought we may potentially break out before. So if we get a monthly candle to close above that, we're in massive price discovery mode for Matic, and all bets are off, folks. You could see this thing absolutely skyrocket from there. So that's Matic on the longer term, more of the macro. Okay. Let me see if there's any other layer 2s here. Yeah, I think we've got a few more. I got a request from Noel to cover DOT. I don't know if Noel's in the chat right now or not. He's a busy guy. Hopefully he's going to be catching the UFC fights later. But as we jump into DOT here, you can see this falling wedge. This is on the monthly chart, because we were just in the monthly. And this is just such an obvious stinking pattern right here. You know, I just want to make this easy for everyone right now. So I'm just going to highlight this because I think if you did buy some DOT recently, you're in really good hands. You know, if you're trying to leverage trade it, you're going to want to drill into the minutia a little bit and make sure that you're, you know, measuring your risk and that you have support and resistance figured out and all that good stuff. But I really do honestly think that we're brewing up for a huge move in the cryptocurrency markets. And the reason that I say this is because of all these macro indicators that are flashing for Bitcoin. And you say, oh, well, that's just Bitcoin. Well, no, it's not just Bitcoin because Bitcoin drives the entire market. So people can take profits from Bitcoin to altcoins either through US dollar tether or just directly through Bitcoin pairs. So as people continue to do that, as Bitcoin rises parabolically, I think we'll see altcoins continue to rise parabolically as well. And I think it's just really going to take a lot of people off guard, and they're not going to realize what happened until 2024, 2025, when the market is already inflated and retail is like, oh, hey, well, I should buy this coin again. No, probably not. You're going to want to wait. So right now it's the time to buy because you can see this is an obvious reversal. This is a huge bullish engulfing candle corresponding with a breakout of this falling wedge. And you're just trying to build a structure on the monthly for DOT, which is still a new asset. So, you know, $158 DOT, not unrealistic. And if we look at, you know, where that would have taken the asset from the bottom of the pattern, $3,600% gains for DOT, so 36x. You know, I'm not a huge fan of this project. It's kind of a conservative play, to be honest. I don't think it's going anywhere. I think it has a really established ecosystem. I think if you want more gains out of DOT, maybe look into the ecosystem like Moon River or Kasama or some of the smaller projects on DOT. I'm not holding or trading DOT in any capacity. Just doing this as a request. So that's DOT on the macro. I do think you have a chance to, you know, negotiate those price discovery levels, especially if you move up above like $43.55. So in between that range, you know, I would take a look here, watch for rejection. If it moves above that 55, you're, you know, looking at maybe another 2x from there up to around 150, 160. It's a real conservative play. You know, you're probably not going to get thrown out of the house or you know, have any serious ramifications from building the position in DOT. I'm sure you'll get your returns. I just think there's potentially more returns out there. So let's move on from DOT. Any other layer 2s? Yeah, we got some smaller ones. Yeah. Let's move over to Rose. Rose has some partnerships that people may not be aware of. Oasis Network. I believe they've partnered up with Disney in some capacity for like some NFTs and some other stuff. So it is an up-and-coming project. It is Metaverse, NFT, Layer 2, all those buzzwords, right? So you've got this wedge. Looking pretty similar to DOT, to be completely honest with you. You'll probably see a little better return out of this one, though. Let's take a look. Nothing too spectacular on the measured move here. You know, 30x or whatever, right? So it's not horrible. It's not horrible. 28x, 28.5x. You know, keep in mind this is just a projection. Once you get above these price discovery areas, this could easily go to $2, $5, whatever. You know, there's no cap on that once you get into price discovery. This is just what the technicals are showing us here. So this is a young project. Some levels to take a look at on the macro here. You know, and the macro is always nice because it does give us these exaggerated areas of support and resistance. So, you know, 27 cents, 43 cents. And if we take a fib, so yeah, see that area around 27 cents is taking us up above the 706 fib, in between the 706 and the 786, which is always a nice area to look for altcoins because typically they'll make a little more aggressive move. So I would watch that, and you may bounce around for a while back down to the 0.5 or whatever before we're able to negotiate the price discovery area for this asset. The measured move takes the projection for the price discovery around $1 out to April of 24, but none of that written in stone. So that's Rose. Let's see here. I'm gonna move over to Flux real quick. I have covered, oh, not FK. I have covered Flux on this channel. You can see this is even a newer asset, so it has broken out on the monthly. Just gonna swing out here to the weekly. Give us a little more of a viewpoint on where Flux is at. I believe Flux is about to break out of a W pattern that's forming here. We do have to be cognizant of the fact that the Stochastics RSI is pretty overbought, but I think this move can maintain some momentum as we do appear to have a breakout and retest of this triangle. So we'll see how that goes. It may take more consolidation, break down, and then break back up. But I do believe we're creating a W here, and that W does have a direct measured move back up to the top of this triangle, or the wick, swing wick high actually, which is like around $4.50. If Flux breaks out of that area, you know, you could see it quickly move up to, you know, $10, $20, $40 and really create some massive gains. This coin has some heavy fundamentals behind it that I won't get into right now, so I do want to make this quick, but keep in mind, you know, this is a coin that you want to do some research on. So that is Flux. Let's move over to Near Protocol. Near Protocol, just like the rest of the market, appears to be gaining strength after a breakout. You can see this downtrend line here. Did get a clean breakout of that, retesting the middle Bollinger Band. It does appear to be gaining strength here. It has not yet negotiated the 200 daily moving average, which is up around $3. So potential scalp opportunity for Near from around the $2.50 level up to around $3. I'd say above $3.10. You're going to move up pretty quickly to around 344, 356 in that area. So Near has a chance to make a big move. Take a quick macro on Near. Oops. So quick macro move on Near. This looks like a move that could take some time. to play out into June of 2024, somewhere around $69 for near. That'd be some pretty good profits. 20-something X from here for near protocol, which I believe has its own stable coin. I believe that's a layer 2 solution as well, which is why I did jump on that one. Let me move into a real small coin here right now. This is A0. A0 is only available on some of these smaller exchanges. Ooh, they finally got that on KuCoin. That is banging. Yeah, you can see that's brand new on KuCoin, and it's gone up parabolically since it did drop on the exchange. It's done a 1x. Let's get a little more history here. Roby doesn't have that much either. See that we got this flag, created this W breakout. I think right now A0 is probably topping out locally. I would maybe look for some consolidation off this move as we've closed a couple candles now well above the top Bollinger Band. However, these candles have closed also in price discovery mode. So this thing could just take off from here. There's nothing saying that it couldn't just absolutely rock. But, you know, keep in mind too, this move right here looks very similar to this move right here. If we just take like a measured on that, you know, the move may have a little bit more legs from here. So you may see like one more candle, maybe up to like $1.77. But if you're in A0 and you bought anywhere in here, I would start taking some profits. So that's A0. Do some research on that project, folks. It is a small cap coin and can yield some big gains potentially. I'm going to swing back out to a larger cap here. I did get a request to look at Litecoin. Got all these perpetual contracts, just nonsense. Most of that stuff really doesn't even drive the market. If you want to look at charts that largely drive the market, folks, try to look at Binance US dollar tether, because that is where a ton of volume is traded. So taking a look at Litecoin on the weekly, we're coming up to potential resistance. We have broken out of this rising wedge. So there is this overhead resistance from this downtrend line of this falling broadening wedge. It's looking pretty bullish, to be honest. And once again, you know, all these assets are tied to Bitcoin. This is going to follow Bitcoin. If we get this measured move here from that swing wick low to that swing wick high, carry that out of the rising wedge there. You're looking at around 200 bucks. So, you know, just from this swing wick low to this swing wick high in the wedge, that'll take you up to around 166. So 166 to 200 may be a nice spot to think about taking some profits, as we may see a potential break back down here, a retest of this downtrend line as support if we get an aggressive breakout. And we could see a more aggressive move. There's nothing saying that we couldn't. So, you know, we're in kind of a cup and handle here as well as we swing out. And, you know, that swing wick low to that swing wick high, if we get an aggressive breakout of this falling broadening wedge, that actually takes Litecoin up to about $1,900. So, you know, from here close to a 20x, 1920x. It's not impossible, folks. It's not impossible. It's definitely not. Litecoin has good fundamentals behind it. And yeah, it's definitely something that we could see a larger move on. So, you know, keep the high price in mind here, around $410. Anything above that becomes price discovery, and it could move up another, you know, 4 or 5x from there. So that's Litecoin. I got a request for DYDX, which is a decentralized exchange. This did create a nice consolidation wave here. Looks like potentially a W breakout in progress. If we were to take a measured move of that W breakout, you're looking at around $5.96. And I did have this trade kind of plotted out from here before, where it actually broke down. So that did fail, but it looks like right now this isn't so much of a, oops, it's not so much of a parallel channel as more of a what? It's more of a rising broadening, which really technically is more of a bearish measurement. Maybe we can look at this a little differently as well. So there we kind of have clean breakout and retest, right? So I breakout, this wick down to retest. This broke down, kind of retested again. And now we have this break occurring here. So it's kind of a tough pattern, to be honest. This is still a fairly new asset. We'll just take that measured move from the breakout. We might get a little bit of confluence there as well. $9.56. Important area here up at the top where those weekly candles closed around 23.50. Anything above that is price discovery mode, and your guess is as good as mine at that point, because the structure is still too young on this. So that is DYDX. Let's take a look at Lisk. I looked at this coin before. This coin was put out on YouTube by Da Vinci Jeremy, who's an old school crypto holder and YouTuber. He bought Bitcoin like when it was like a penny or whatever, so obviously he's rich as all heck. Even if you just bought one Bitcoin at a penny, just one Bitcoin at a penny, you would be a ridiculously rich person. So what we've got here, oops, I'm just going to make some quick adjustments on this chart, because I did go ahead and chart it after Da Vinci put it out, and it still gives us nice confluence. So, you know, right around this 786 fib, you got $6.34 ish. This becomes a little more conservative, $24. Got this level around $11, which is right around the range high on that swing wick. This pattern does look ready to break out, as it did retest the middle Bollinger Band. It's now retesting the upper band, which is right in confluence with the downtrend line of this falling wedge. So Lisk looks very bullish, and this looks like it's probably going to do exactly what Da Vinci said it would, which is moon. Going to swing out to the 4-week chart, and this really just tells us that you know, these indicators are trying to gain momentum, and that more than likely, if this RSI can get above the 50 level here, that Lisk is going to rock. So honestly, you know, this is still an accumulation zone. You know, you got a lot of resistance here that just broke out of with this bullish engulfing candle on the 4-week chart. This is 4 weeks, essentially a monthly chart. But with that in mind, this is still accumulation zone. There's no reason why you couldn't start averaging into Lisk or just take a small position, throw a few $100 in there, whatever meets your risk tolerance, and just set it aside and wait for what could be 22x. I think anybody's going to complain about a 22x gain, right? And that could happen fairly quickly. You know, late winter, spring of next year. Totally possible. Can't rule it out. So keep that in mind for Lisk. Going to jump over to Mask. And we're getting into some of these smaller coins here. Folks, I would recommend that you check out the fundamentals on some of these coins. Once again, do not take anything on this channel as financial advice. Do your own due diligence and research before jumping into any coin investment or trade. With that in mind, for Mask on the 4-week chart, this shows some bullishness as this candle has just wicked up to the middle Bollinger Band resistance. More than likely, it will continue to build strength because you do see the RSI breaking out just above that 50 level, which actually is in RSI discovery mode for Mask. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit to the 10-day candles. We see that we have closed a couple now above that upper Bollinger Band, continuing to gain strength. Bounced perfectly off the middle Bollinger Band and the 200 daily moving average. Price has brought the RSI and the stochastics RSI above that midpoint 50 level, gaining strength above this point of control, just above $3, where we have seen this flag move above that with pretty strong momentum. So if we zoom in, oops, that's a little too much. We zoom into the 3-day chart. 3-day chart for Mask has created this flag pattern here. Is getting pretty oversold or overbought, excuse me, on the stochastics RSI, overbought on the RSI as well, potentially creating some bearish divergence here. Might be an area to take some profits for Mask and look for re-entry on potentially around this point of control, maybe around $2.30, which would coincide with this 200 daily moving average. May get a wick back down there. So zoom in a little bit because I think people may be in trades for this. Price is kind of consolidating in this sort of rising pattern here. Has not revisited the lower Bollinger Band yet after negotiating the middle one for support. You do see sort of a bearish divergence creeping in here on the RSI. So once again, this may be a spot to take some profits for Mask, as you might see the price revisit this point of control or 200 daily moving average. That 200 DMA is pretty well down there. That will be a big breakdown. It's probably unlikely that we see it come back down to there, but this is a smaller project, so I don't want to rule out volatility. So we move through some of these smaller coins. Take a look at GMX. This coin has made some moves up on the 4-hour recently, from about $45 up to about $77. It does look like this is starting to break down a little bit though, and we may see this thing consolidate, come back down a little bit. It is bouncing on the 1 hour. It is bouncing on the 1 hour, so kind of an interesting flag there on GMX. These rising wedges that I keep seeing. Short-term bounce out of the rising wedge could take GMX up to $100. So GMX. Zoom out a little bit on this thing. It's pretty new. This is in price discovery mode, folks. Be careful. I'm not going to recommend entering on this because you are on a rising wedge. It could totally break down. But you are getting a bounce. You get a scalp on the short term, on the hourly. So if your risk tolerance is higher, that's GMX. Let's move over to IOTX. I think I screwed up the hashtag in the description of the video for that, but that's for me to worry about later. Nothing for you guys to worry about. IOTX on the daily has broken out of the 200 daily moving average and the point of control on the VRVP, as well as the middle Bollinger Band is gaining strength here and attempting to form what looks to be a breakout of this potential cup and handle structure here. Some people would also call this potentially a rising wedge. Also just call it like a wedge, you know. So look for that spider line. May see some consolidation in here between the 200 daily moving average, point of control, and this downtrend line. See that pattern sort of forming on the RSI there as well. So IOTX looking like it is building strength on the daily. As far as like a measured move on this thing, swing out a little bit further. Looks like potential breakout and retest there on this candle. Or if we swing it over here, breakout and retest on that one. Maybe a little more confluence here. So we'll draw it from there. I'm going to take the big banger. And IOTX, I want to say it's like a Internet of Things. Track and control. Might even be an ISO coin. ISO 222. This thing has potential to make a massive move into late 2024 or 2025. No guarantee, no guarantee. But if it gets adoption or there's some type of, you know, movement to like heavy regulation or some of the newer, I should say, worldly ordered types of movements, shall we say? So I don't want to get flagged by the algorithm. This is a type of coin that I would see being adopted by those types because of what it does. So above 21 cents, IOTX is going to go into price discovery mode. 50 cents would be the target out of this wedge. $6.60 is the fractal target if you're moving into the bull market in 24 to 25 for IOTX. Potential high reward on that coin, so, you know, I'm not going to tell you not to take a risk on it. You know, I'm not saying that it can't get lower either and come back down to test this level around 1.5 cents. So it still could break down, 50%. Or even retest this point of control at, like a fraction of a penny. But I think we've negotiated that and have built market structure, and that we are above those ridiculous macro potentials. But with the economic climate, I don't want to rule anything out because, yeah, we live in clown world, right? A unicorn crypto. Uni is the unicorn crypto, dude. Come on, get with the times. All right, so moving along on this super long list that I had, I am jumping into ICX. Icon is an older project. Oh, wow. See, here's something to keep in mind, folks. And, I'm trying to find the best way to approach this point. So, how many times have you heard that Bitcoin is dead? Right? You've heard it many, many times. Right? So, ICX is a very fundamentally sound project. It's supposed to be like the project for Korea. And it actually does have, I believe, regulation behind it and partnerships and all that kind of stuff. But I think, we're looking at a space that's still very young. So I think Korea is still figuring out where its tolerance within the cryptocurrency space is at. The CRISPO currency space, yeah. Don't get too crispy out there, folks. But with that in mind, this market structure looks freaking amazing to me. What I'm seeing here is really, really technically sound, because you've got this huge falling wedge first, which is a characteristic pattern of a lot of coins, as well as Bitcoin and a lot of the larger market structures that we're seeing. So this is going to follow the larger market structure. Just keep that in mind right away, because it's literally exactly that. So as we're seeing that, we see this huge cup and this handle. So it's like a cup and a handle. Or we could even look at this as a potential W that's forming, right? So this is it's just market structure, folks. This is just market structure. This is a pattern that has obviously been forming over the long term. We had a nice swing on this coin. It went all the way from its low to a new high and then came back down almost to that same low after this past bull run. So anybody that was in ICX and got trapped up here when it got introduced on Tether, and I shouldn't say it's all-time high because this is just when it was paired with Tether on Binance. I think it was a little higher than that previous to that. But regardless, this is beautiful market structure. This is the type of market structure that you look for when you're looking for an asset to start, jumping into for a longer-term swing. So, what I'm seeing here is we've got a few possibilities. So we'll take that measurement. That brings us up to about 76 cents. Take our fib extension. We want that local low. And we'll take the previous high. Okay, so that target brought us up above the 0.5. Let's see if we can get a more aggressive target here. Yep, that takes us right up to the 0.786. So So we're on $1.58. And then we're going to take the fractal all the way up to the high here. Swing that out. About $5.62. And keep in mind as well, if this plays out like this cup and handle, let's just make it a cup and handle, because they are pretty. So we're going to run that arc there. And really what we want to do is just take the measurement from the bottom of the arc to the top. This won't give us a projected time frame, but it will give us a projected price point. And that thing is wild. Moon for ICX. $68 potential swing if we look at the really long term on that thing. So that's ICX in a nutshell right now. I'm kind of glad somebody brought that to my attention, because you know, I've looked at this coin in the past, never invested in it, and might be the time now. Not financial advice. So moving on, cake. Cake is forming nice market structure. Cake is a newer asset. So I'm going to swing in just a little bit to the 5-day candles. This looks like a really nice breakout. We had it bounce right off that 50 level on the RSI. And either way you slice it, this is breakout and retest here. So we'll just look at this as a fake out. We'll look at this as breakout and retest on this wick down here. Firm breakout here off the middle Bollinger Band and the point of control. And this thing is off and running. I don't think there's anything holding cake back here. This nice falling wedge. Takes us to the 0.618. Actually takes us to the 0.706. So I would look at that as a realistic target for cake in the midterm on this relief rally, $18.08. About a 4.5x from here, 4.5x. I don't have anything to help me repeat a fractal here on cake. So above $41, you're in price discovery mode. I'm gonna do kind of a back test here. You don't see people do that, but to me it's valid when you have an asset that hasn't necessarily established all the market structure that you might normally see. So as we move into 2024, 2025, maybe $62 for cake. But, you know, once you get into price discovery, there's no saying what could happen. I don't want to, like, totally speculate on this. So I just don't have enough market structure to really build a total long-term target. Did I cover CHNG? Change. It's a small cap. Holy cow, look at this thing. So this coin has been on Gate.io for a while. enough to give us some market structure, and oh boy, this actually kind of has the bells and whistles that we're looking for, to quote the crypto lifer. So in this pennant that's formed here, we've got a nice breakout and retest. It's a perfect breakout and retest. Just above the 200 DMA and the middle Bollinger Band. So we've discussed that confluence, I think, ad nauseum so far on the stream. So I'm going to take a measured move from this crazy candle. That thing just pumped hard. It's ridiculous. So if you get a repeating fractal on this thing, you're looking at about $10.37, which from the current level, if you just buy this piece of crap, hold on to it until this says just June of this year, really? Is that possible, folks? 11,000% gains between now and this summer for change. That's a real S coin, folks. That is a real S coin. Manage your risk on that one. It's not something I'd take a huge position in, but man, market structure looks good. It's sort of cupped out here, building a little handle after the breakout and retest. This thing could just absolutely rip. Wow. Change, folks. Change. What other exchanges is that thing on? I don't know if that's Change Finance, if that's the same one. It's on MEXC. MEXC is a good exchange as well. I would say if you're a US user, you're going to want to jump into MEXC as opposed to Gate. I'm not even sure you can get into Gate from the US any longer. Alright, so let's move on. We are almost concluded on this live stream. I do have a handful more altcoins, and I'm going to jump because I do have obligations. We are running pretty long on this stream already as it is, jumping up to almost 2 hours, folks. I want to thank you if you're still in the chat hanging out. If not, if you did, enjoy what you heard, just thanks for jumping on in, Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting the stream. If you're still here and you haven't smashed the like button for any reason, please make sure you hit that thing. If you're just jumping on in, make sure that you touch that like button as well. It's not going to hurt you, folks. Subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell for notifications if you haven't done so yet, because you do want to check the upcoming content. So, Vulcan Forge. I'm going to jump over to US dollar tether pair. I'm going to swing in just a little bit to the 3-day candles so we can get just a little better picture here. The RSI has moved above that 50 level, is gaining strength, trying to get into the overbought territory. Stochastic's RSI is well into the overbought territory. So we do want to be careful here with this one. However, it has sort of created a double bottom. Did break out of that. That target was right around the point of control, which it looks like we have broken out of that as well, along with this middle Bollinger Band and the 200 daily moving average. So once again, that confluence, it does look like Vulcan Forge is building some momentum here. Now, this bad boy looks like it's, I don't know if it's a falling wedge or a descending triangle. So some of these are always a little tougher to look at than others in terms of where the breakout's actually at. I'm going to say this was the breakout and retest right here. I think this makes a little more sense. But I could be wrong. What do I know? I've only been in crypto for 6 years now, so technically I'm still a baby. But I've learned quite a bit over the last year. And once you hit that 5-year mark, you'll see that your knowledge starts to accelerate quite quickly and that you'll jump into more advanced subjects. So if you're a little newer to the space and you've only been here since this last run up, moving from 2020, 2021 into current day, February 4th, 2023. Pat yourself on the back, first of all, that you're still around, but second of all, realize that you've got a long way to go in your journey, and there's a lot to learn for you as you move along. So just keep in mind these market structures that I've been trying to highlight for you. And I'm sure some of the more experienced folks that are in the chat will have an idea of what I'm trying to pick up and put down here. So with that in mind, for Vulcan Forge, kind of a similar situation to where we were at with Cake, because I just don't have the market structure here for this coin. With that in mind, if we just, take this baby swing here. Short to midterm, we could be looking at $8 and some odd cents. And honestly, I think this is an asset that may take some time to build market structure. I do think it's a good one, though. I want to say this is a gaming coin, NFTs, stuff like that. So just keep in mind, local areas of support and resistance that were created the last time. And I would say if you move above about $42 to $50, that you're going to be in price discovery mode, and then potentially $100, which would be like a 50x from here. That's all just serious extrapolation and dubious speculation, to quote Benjamin Cowan. So that is PYR Vulcan Forge. Let's move on to Gala Games. Gala has great fundamentals behind it. If you're holding Gala or trading Gala, shout out to you. You probably made some good profits. I sold my Gala way too early, like right here at the top of this candle, because I'm dense. Sorry, I shouldn't say that, but I knew that this thing was going to pop higher. I thought that maybe we would get a little more consolidation out of it, and we didn't. So took the profits elsewhere, as I just really didn't find a comfortable re-entry point since then, because it just took off so quickly, and it's been consolidating in this rising wedge since then, which I think could definitely break down to around the 3 to 4 cent level. If Gala does break down to that area, then I'll look to potentially enter a position at that time. Right now, with this falling wedge that Gala has created, it does give us some opportunities to present some targets. Keep in mind, you've got RSI in overbought territory, stochastics RSI in overbought territory. This thing's in dangerous territory with this rising wedge. It could break down at any time. If it does break out of that rising wedge parabolically, you're going to get a large move. If you moved up the golden pocket here, or just above, you're looking at 24 cents. So about a 5x from here. Other targets could take you up to, between the 706 and 786, around 30 to 33 cents. And even more aggressively, if you take this full measured move here from the low of this candle all the way to this swing wick high, that would take you up to above $1, so around $1.06. I mean, is that potentially possible for Gala. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, because this is probably going to be one of the foremost NFT gaming coins in the space. So Gala has been banging. Big gains, like almost a 5x or more, I think, from the bottom. Oops. So I'm going to move on quickly to ApeCoin. ApeCoin, in a similar structure, does offer support for the NFTs that are based around the Bored Ape Yacht Club, I believe. So there is some use case behind the token, fundamentals, whatnot. You can see with this wedge here, questionable breakout and retest. If it was a breakout and retest, it was pretty swift. But with that in mind, price action is above the point of control at around $4.82. I did buy a 3x leveraged ETF on this coin before the breakout here, so in this area, and I am in pretty decent profits right now, and questioning whether I do want to take some off the top, as this may break back down to visit this point of control and the middle Bollinger Band, or even this downtrend line here again if we do get a really significant dump. So just a few areas to highlight for ApeCoin. Looks like there was pretty significant resistance around $6.30. Breaking above that, there's some significant levels and support and resistance around $7.80, $11.40. And then once we get up to the top of the wedge here, around $19.76, $20. And then again at these swing wick highs, which is about $27.46. Anywhere above that, you're in price discovery mode, and I would look for Gala to challenge $100. It's really not even something that I look at as at all, unrealistic for what the space can do, and for what Gala can do for what it is fundamentally and technically, with the structure that we've built here. So that's Gala Games, or excuse me, I'm sorry, ApeCoin. Did I say Gala? It's been a long day, folks, long day. We're just over 2 hours of streaming, and I did stream to just myself for just over an hour. So gotta love yourself first, folks, right? I'm gonna jump over into some NFT and gaming stuff, and then we're gonna jump off the live stream. So Mana Decentraland, this is a virtual space that you can buy land and explore, and there's all kinds of fun stuff going on there. We did get a pretty strong breakout here. I don't see that there's been a significant retest of that breakout yet, so that's something to keep in mind for Mana out of this falling wedge. There's nothing saying that we can't come back down to test this downtrend line as support along with this middle Bollinger Band and this range here around 44 cents. This thing has been ripping. It is in a bit of a rising wedge now, it looks like. We've got potential for massive upside with this project, and honestly, I do believe that it will meet it, because this coin did yield me a 100x gain in the last bull market. $96 possible for Mana, and shout out to Randall at Crypto Love. He did say that $100 Mana was possible towards the top of the last bull market. So, not saying that he thought it was going to happen right then, but if we move all the way out to 2024, mana could yield us those huge gains again, and you know, that would be absolutely wild. I would be very, very happy if that happened. Very, very happy. So some areas to look at in between now and potentially then. Current level, we're at 78 cents, just above $1 at $1.03, $1.33, $1.59, $1.99. Some chop to move through after that. So areas around $2 and $3, there's some heavy resistance in there. Above that, at the top of the formation, you got $5.14, $6.12, where I can say accurately that I did unload my position the last time for that huge gain that I mentioned. Feels good, man. So, with that in mind, that is mana. If you see price break out significantly above $5 or $6, you're in price discovery mode and start looking for much higher swing targets. And in between there, $8.40. It's a possible area as well. You see, I'm just taking these swing wick lows to the swing wick high and projecting them out of the breakout point. 13, 14 bucks. I just want to have these targets, folks, because this is something I'm going to be looking at. $48. Exactly half of that 96 target. So good confluence there. I like that confluence with those targets. This all looks great on the macro. Not saying any of this stuff has to play out, but I do believe mana is a very strong asset, and it does have the potential to do that. So I'm going to move over to sand, which really is a project that you should have handcuffed if you're holding mana. And sand has a similar potential here and a similar pattern. We see this falling wedge breakout. I really hope this is helping you folks, because, you know, this TA can be repeated over and over and over again. Any coin or assets, you can take this over the stock market, Forex, wherever you want. This works anywhere, precious metals, all that stuff. So the macro target on sand is absolutely massive at $682. Holy cow. So it may be possible that sand sees more adoption than mana. I am in both right now. I do recommend handcuffing these assets. You know, one or the other may get some massive adoption, and it looks like it may be sand based on the technicals here. It's an absolutely massive move if that plays out. Holy cow. Holy cow. Yeah, if that happens, I'll be retiring, folks. I'll tell you that right now. Okay. So that's sand. That's man, I don't want to get too excited, but holy cow. Alright, so there's just some huge macro targets. I'm just going to leave that there, and we'll see what plays out over the next couple of years. And I am willing to be that patient in this market, folks. There's no reason that you shouldn't be, because you will be rewarded for that patience. I can promise you that. I held mana for like 2 or 3 years before I got 100x out of it. So you should be looking at, you know, holding at least 3 years, to be honest. 3 to 5 years before you see the returns that you might be looking for. So I'm going to move over to this last coin. This is NFT Champions. This coin has a pretty cool game built on the Unreal Engine, which, if you're familiar with gaming, is pretty much like the premier stuff out there. So this coin has some great devs behind it. I want to say some of the Halo devs work on this thing. Don't quote me on that, folks. Do your own due diligence, as I've said. Make sure you're doing your own research. But right now, you know, this coin is below, folks, I'm gonna say it again, below the middle Bollinger Band and the 200 daily moving average, which we've seen so many coins breaking out of. That means what you have here is the opportunity for a massive breakout for NFT Champions. And to me right now, you know, it looks like potentially you are in the middle of that breakout and possible retest. So I think accumulation of this coin is going to be a pretty high priority for me. With some of the profits that I've got in my swing trades on some of the larger cap coins that I'm in right now. So I'll swing a little profit out of those, and we'll look at entries for these smaller coins. And right now, this market structure is fantastic. You have potential for huge upswing moves for Champ from the current levels. This coin has, you know, 50, 100, 200x potential easily. If you go to their website and take a look at the game, it looks really cool. If it gets proper adoption, you know, if there's any sort of hype around it, once it really drops, you can see huge moves for this thing. You know, this is a small cap coin. It can move very quickly. I did jump over to the chart at gate.io because this gives us more price history, but this coin is available on MEXC as well. So keep that in mind. This is a small cap gem right here, folks. I'm going to leave off on that. Thank you, everyone. If you made it this far, I need a chart on egg prices. Yeah. Hey, Keith, that's going to be pretty parabolic right now. I would try to look for a correction on egg prices, or, you know, folks, when it comes down to it, you know, we have the source code for minting more eggs. It's called buying chickens. So you can buy some chickens. I'm looking into doing that right now. And once you get that laid out, you know, you can, you can look at cracking the code, so to speak, on that. Horrible pun intended, right? So, I think that's about it. If anybody in the chat has anything to request real quick before I jump, any other coins, anything that anybody wants to look at, I'll give you just another minute here, but I think that's about it here in Clown World, folks. We went over a lot of altcoins today. This has been a very long stream. I thank anybody who made it this far, because this has been a marathon. You know, thanks for supporting the channel. Make sure, if you haven't, on the way out, hit the like button, honk the subscribe and the notification bell. It's super important for this young and growing channel. I really do thank everyone. God bless you all. I love you all, and we'll catch you on the flip side, the next episode of Crypto Clown World. Take it easy, folks.